We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk. Tamaya gon' talk about it. We gon' talk. Tamaya gon' talk about it. We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk. Tamaya gon' talk about it. We gon' talk. Tamaya gon' talk about it.
Hello, welcome to the Tamaya Show. Thank you for tuning in. Today's topic is going to be self-deception and why that matters, okay? Opening it up, we're going to just talk about self-deception and what that means, okay? If you're deceiving yourself, you're most likely deceiving others, and you're doing it unknowingly in every area of your life. Self-deception affects us all, but it takes a strong person to set themselves free and say, I don't want to be a deceiver anymore. I think the beginning of my self-deception started at home. And most people don't recognize that their self-deception starts at home. Being a parent who drinks, smokes, lies, cheats, deceives, whatever you saw that was contradictory to your standard, which is either the word of God or a family member or some type of moral code you believed. Either way, you probably filed it as hypocrisy. What to do when you're rooted and grounded in self-deception and don't know how to break out of it because you didn't know that you were in it. That matters. It matters because that's what happened with me. So learning self-deception from being in locations, knowing, okay, I'm at home, I'm with my mother and I'm with my father. Now I'm in another location, I'm with my mother and another man. And knowing not to say that, to never cross those boundaries, to never mess it up. And to cognitively as a child say to myself, I will never tell my father about this. That's already not going to work. But as we grow up and we start to put things together, okay, am I a liar? Am I a deceiver? Or am I just protecting mommy or whoever? A lot of it is both. But when you really think about it, most of us never really developed any real integrity. Integrity starts from the foundation. Without a clear-cut example of what you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do, and what it's supposed to look like to be successful, you're not really going to know, are you being a right person integrally? Do you have integrity? What is your character? Do you have character flaws? Are you a liar? Are you a deceiver? Are you a manipulator? I mean, think about it. We're just hiring people to work in the schools. Then we find out 10 years later, oh, Mr. Bob was touching the kids. Well, we didn't know him. How can we know anybody? You don't know anybody. Self-deception is internal. So you can't give anybody a standardized internal test. You never know what someone's going to do when they're tempted and they're tested with something they never told you about. I think it's important. I think it's important because I recognized in myself, I developed certain behaviors that gave myself a pass. Now, being raised by a man, I was taught with logic, but the example of my mother was not logical. So I followed a bad example. Now, I always knew from my father, I know for a fact, hey, you're going to get killed out here. That's why I'm not going to stop whooping you. I'm not going to stop beating you. I'm not going to stop getting on you. I don't care if you die because you're going to die going for the streets anyway. So I had that type of father, all the way. So I knew anytime I did anything wrong at all, it didn't matter what it was. I mean, nothing. Put that penny back. Okay. It's talking to me in my ear because I was raised with integrity. I was raised with morals. I was raised with character. So I know without a shadow of a doubt that this entire world is wrong and being deceived on a high level. On a high level. And the more I try to teach that to people, the more I'm starting to understand you still don't get it. You still don't get it. Still missing it. That's why the kids are being raped. That's why people being hurt. Because you trusted the wrong people and you don't know why. Because you're still not picking up on it. Most people don't have integrity. Most people, I would say in this world, just giving Earth a grade, I'm the leadership and ethical development consultant for the world. I'm going to give America a D plus. And I just changed it to a plus last week. It was a D minus. Now people are being mean. They're being racist. No one's being nice. Well, we have to lead with love. You're deceiving yourself if you say you don't need love. You're deceiving yourself if you say that you don't love people. We might not get it all right, but at some point we have to change. I learned that, okay, mommy wasn't doing the right things, but I don't have to do the same things. I think deep down in myself, that Adam and Eve thing, I think I was a part of it, maybe I'm the one, eat the apple out of, I don't know. I just, chasing my flesh, chasing the world, chasing my own evil desires. I can say that now that I have accountability, I know I was wrong. I think the number one thing more leaders need to do is admit wrongdoing, and you're deceived if you're judging other people, because we're all doing something that's inappropriate and unacceptable. So you really can't go too hard in the judgment category, which is what I wanted to get to, because we all have behaviors that are contradictory to what we say, do, feel, and believe. And that's a big one, because my mom was the first one to church, and the car broke down, we're walking to church. But then she's leaving and going to do drugs, and we're hanging out with men. Totally contradictory behavior, but you're learning to let it go. Deceiving yourself. You can let the church part go. If you're just going to run straight to the club or straight to the bed, it's okay, but we're not doing God's work. We're not doing the Lord's work. And it was hard for me to tell myself I wasn't doing the Lord's work, because I was always with my mom thinking we were doing the Lord's work. Rolling down the street, smoking and doing the Lord's work. That's what the world makes you think. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm deceived. I'm deceived. I'm not doing anything right. I'm doing everything wrong. So the first start, the start of accountability starts with saying to yourself, hey, this isn't what it's supposed to look like, and this is not what it is. I apologize to everybody. I'm getting ready to get back on it now, and thank you for sticking with it. I'm going to be her. That's who I am. That's what this is going to be. Thank you so much. I was deceiving myself, tried to talk myself out of my calling. My calling is to wake people up again, to say, hey, just because something bad happened doesn't mean we can't still win. We can win with the truth. We can live with, we can change with restoration, with healing, with love. And when we break out of the chains of self-deception and self-worth issues, and really low self-esteem is the foundation of that. Because why would you ever lie to yourself? You're the most important person here. There wouldn't even be anything without you. So why would I lie to myself? Forgetting who I am, what I've been through, and how much it took. It might not have been perfect. Story really doesn't really read clean, but still. It was my story, and I appreciate it. I can say I am who I am. I have a lot of jokes, funny, witty, smart. I mean, there comes a lot. With the good comes the bad. I remember a certain time specifically, my dad asked me, he said, okay, were you and your mother, were you guys around anybody this weekend? And I told him, I said, no, we weren't around anybody. And at that point, she had like a whole boyfriend relationship to the max. So the problem with that is I didn't know that was known information. Again, things that kids shouldn't have been into, then they're into it. Now it's a problem. The adultification of all children, not just black children, all children is the problem. Children under 12 shouldn't be watching kids. Sorry, this isn't the 60s. We need to find better options than having older siblings. They ain't even watching them anyway. Most of them are hanging out and the other half aren't even there. So we're going to have to come up with a better system. I'm coming up with a 501c3. Look out for it through Jadestone. We're coming up with ideas, but we need to get back to reality. If the leaders are lying to themselves and judging people for the very thing you do. So you do this, and you're judging people for it. That's a level of mental illness. Now that's actually, for me, to know that there's people out here who are literally living double lives with multiple personalities. Now, I have a joke with myself and me and my close friends. They say, I got 4 personalities. And in reality, I do. I have 4. But I'm in control of all 4. But for someone to say that other person or those other people, I really am not in control of, now that's actually not a joke. Okay? Mental health is what I'm really, really into. And I talk to people, are you in control? Are you in control? Because me, sure, some things did happen, but I do believe I'm no longer deceiving myself in understanding why I have those triggers, why I compartmentalize, why I'm up and down, why I can't talk about certain things, why I have to shut down and re-energize. Like now I'm starting to understand why, instead of just drinking or smoking or going out with men or just doing things I shouldn't be doing at all. I now am starting to understand this is why you do those things from time to time. This is why you're doing them. Because it's a part of you. I actually felt like for a while, if I didn't party, if I didn't hang out with men, if I didn't do that, I thought I was going to die. Dead. Couldn't survive it. Dying without a party. Dying without a party. And most people are never going to tell you that part when you busted out the dorms to go to a party and you in the college for real. And you getting a full ride scholarship and you driving your car to LA and you dipping back at 5 a.m. and got practice at 8 for real. Why? Why couldn't you just stay home? Because you can't. Feet that run to trouble. Sometimes we have to get out there and have some fun and get back. But my thing is, I tell them, go ahead, have some fun. Can you make it back? And can you still be great? Because if you come back hungover or sick, no one cares about your sociological issues. I didn't even tell them. I didn't tell nobody what happened with me. Never. Not once. Never. Well, something happened. Didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I guess that's why at this age I hate kind of talking about it, because people are like, oh, she's affected, she's affected. No. This is a story of a person who went through it, never said nothing, got through it, and talking about it now. This is not the testimony of someone who got some help. So I'm not really open to feedback about absolutely anything in any area. I mean, not that I can think of. But I'm open to my team. And my team is like, Tamaya, don't go there. We were doing good. I know. You push me. I got it. But it's like, don't push me because I'm close to the edge. That happens. And that's also what I want to talk about. Self-deception. Pretending to be a nice person. You're mean. No, you're mean. That's one thing with me. I was pretending to be nice, really mean, been mean, come from a mean family. Everybody does mean things. Product of my environment, and I'm mean. Well, how do you outgrow that? I don't think you outgrow it. I think if you don't deal with it and handle it, you're still there. It's just dormant. It's just waiting to pop out to that right day with that right person, and then you say the meanest thing you ever said in your life. Nah, you need to get some psychological help, because I don't do that. I don't say those types of things. I don't say one mean comment to my friends or my family. Not going to happen. I don't want to tear you down. I don't want to make you feel sad. And if that's what we need to do to each other as human beings, then we're not understanding what it's like to be human. Because like I said, self-deception, thinking you're someone that you're not, and pretending for people who don't matter and definitely aren't going to be praying for you. I wouldn't waste my time on it. And I'm telling you today, let it go. You can be who you are. You can say what you want to say. Main thing I'm trying to tell people is, no, not blaming anybody. But I will say at the start, yeah, as a child, you see people doing drugs. You see those same people going to church. It makes you think you can do drugs and go to church. Have you ever done drugs and gone to church? Come on. Yeah, I have, actually. Yeah, I have. And at least I went, right? I sat there. I didn't do anything, and no one knew. What did you do? I just smoked and had a drink. I mean, if you guys are... Who's asking the questions here? But, I smoked and I had a drink. And I think... I really wasn't going to go, honestly. I was at home and I wasn't going to go at all. But I felt a tug say, get up and go. And I went, and it was one of the best services of my life, honestly. So I'm actually, most people, when I was younger, and I knew when I was growing up, I said, I am going to drink, I am going to smoke, I am going to participate in wayward affections with men and women, probably. I knew it. But I just said, I won't. I don't want to go to jail, and I don't want to get in trouble. I want to do that, and I don't want to harm anybody. And if anybody's harmed, just harm myself. And that's what I grew up to do. Not trying to judge those people, but in our generation in the 80s, These people were really, really driving with no seatbelts, with cigarettes, with 40, with malt liquor and drugs, and having us in the trap houses. This is 1991. This is 1992. This is 1993. We were part of it. No seatbelts, doors flying open, no alarms on the houses, right? Breaking in. You know it. So depending on where you're from, maybe that's not your testimony. You didn't come from that area, and I'm proud of that for you. But our experience wasn't that way. We came from a place we had to move away from. Lord, please, can we get out of here? It's dangerous. So that's the point. When you're growing up in the fast lane and everybody's doing bad and nobody's really doing good, how am I going to learn how to be the right person? I don't even have the right example. I don't even have the example in the home. I'm sitting here in the home like I can't never do this. Not none of it. And it's sad, having talks with your dad like that from the start. Like, well, this is tragic and you're 8. So people got to get to it. Sure, it's a sad story, but what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? How are you going to use it to make you better? For me, I use it to help motivate people, to let people know, hey, you can still come up out of that. You can still, even though it was like that for you and you had that type of thinking, you can still get over it. And people are like, no way. Then I tell them a couple of my stories and they're like, well, you know what? You're right. You can, because to be honest, all you need to do is think about it a different way. How? I don't know. Starts with your truth. If you're telling yourself a lie, I know you're going to tell me one. So tell yourself the truth. If that means writing it down, if that means talking to a pastor, if it means getting some therapy, if it means having a real talk with a good friend, I don't know what the truth is for you. I know what it looks like for me. It involved a pastor and an exorcism. Fell out on the altar, but hey, that's me. But no, I mean, yeah, you at that point you have to realize, wow, I've been deceiving myself for a long time. I'm really not a great person. I'm not an all-American. I'm not someone America can depend on. Matter of fact, I'm tragic and terrible and need to change in every area. So it's kind of hard to tell yourself that, because we're all running from the truth. Self-deception is when you are deceiving yourself. You're like, look, at least I ain't doing this and that. Yeah, but you're doing that. What are we really talking about? And what are we, beyond what we're showing anybody, what are you showing yourself? You're showing yourself that you got to lie your way through life just to make it. Just to people please and fake get by. I don't think anybody's happy with that type of stuff. Maybe when I was a kid, I'd sit out here and try to, shuck and jive and make everybody laugh. But as an adult, I just want to be who I am and be honest. Hey, I'm not that great, but I'm better than 90% of the planet integrity-wise. Integrity-wise, I'm doing great. Now, there's some spiritual battles don't want to get to on here, but we may on a couple other episodes. Not doing it tonight. But back to self-deception. The main thing I want people to take away from it is this. If you're willing to lie to yourself, you're going to be willing to lie to anybody else. And that's the first part of it. Don't lie to yourself. If you are a liar, walk in that. If you're a deceiver, walk in that. If you know you've never been on no real shit, be that. Don't come in here playing real and playing honest like we won't see that. We're going to detect it. Maybe 3 months got by, but it won't be 3 years. Not in this generation. Not in this generation. Oh no, we're detecting it like, feels off. Feels like something's not there. See, the older generation, they missed it. Nah, you won't be back around. What happened to them? I don't know. It just didn't work. A vibe is real. Why you guys can't smile and laugh at the jokes? Why are we not hanging out? Why is it not a vibe? Why does it feel so tense? Because we're deceiving ourselves. Everybody ain't from God and everybody ain't to be trusted. We need to start screening people a lot tighter in this world. Period. And that goes with family members too. Hey, so where you been and what you been up to these last 6 to 8 months? Where's your integrity at? Where's your heart? And most importantly, where is your mind? Because I was hanging with family members. I thought we was on the same page. They were way out, way off. I had to get away from that real quick, play like it was cool and got out of there. Sometimes you have to realize, hey, when you're going a different way, you got to vibe higher than other people. And I can't be on a low vibration, angry and mad and hating people. Not even my mindset. Tragic to think about. Not sitting here mad. Now, the people who may have crossed you or crossed me are sitting there hurt because they chose the wrong thing. Well, that's what they have to deal with that. They have to deal with that. I'm not dealing with that with you. We ain't gonna be thinking about this together. So main thing I want to remind people of is do not deceive yourself. Don't deceive anyone else, and don't people please. You don't owe anything to anybody. You owe it to yourself to be real. Thank you.
We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk. Tamaya gon' talk about it. We gon' talk. Tamaya gon' talk about it. We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk about it. Tamaya gon' talk.